This mother was mauled to death by a bear in front of her family. Get ready to be shocked and saddened by the tragic story of a mother who was mauled to death by a bear in front of her family. Join us as we uncover the events that took place at Liard River Hotsprings. Patti McConnell, a 37-year-old mother, was driving north from Paris, Texas, towards Alaska with the aim of starting a new life. She wanted to get a job there and raise her two children, 13-year-old Kelly and 7-year-old Kristin. After a long and tiring journey, they finally arrived at the Liard River Park and quickly changed into their swimming suits. The children were thrilled to run along the boardwalk and dip into the refreshing 53 degrees Celsius water of the lower pool. After soaking in the pool, they made their way to the upper pool, which was more secluded and located 340 meters into the bush. Soon, Kristin grew bored and ran back to the lower pool, where she had made some friends. Patti McConnell yelled, "Slow down, or you'll slip," as she and Kelly got up to follow. When they reached the turnoff to the Hanging Gardens, Kelly suggested they go see them. As they climbed the steps through the bush, they reached a viewing platform and became so focused on identifying the exotic plants that they didn't notice a rustling in the bushes beside the boardwalk. Patti checked her watch and expressed her concern for Kristin. She started down the wet steps to find her daughter. As she reached for the railing to maintain her balance, something caught her attention. She looked up and found herself staring into the eyes of a big, adult male black bear sitting in the bushes and chewing on a dogwood branch. Before we move on to the unexpected attack, I would appreciate it if you give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Let's move on to the unexpected attack. McConnell was paralyzed with fear and whispered to Kelly, "Bear." Kelly, with his back to her, thought she was joking and didn't react until she yelled, "Kelly!" He turned around to find a towering animal staring at his mother. Remembering what he had learned about bears, Kelly warned, "Mom, don't make any sudden movements." He cautiously approached his mother as the bear snorted and then lunged through the railing onto the boardwalk. Kelly screamed, "Mom, run!" Patti, spurred by her son's screams, tried to escape as fast as she could, with the bear in hot pursuit. She ran up the steps to the viewing platform, only to find herself trapped. Kelly watched in horror as the bear attacked his mother's almost naked body. Despite his small stature, the 13-year-old boy ran at the bear and kicked it in the face, shouting, "Get off my mom!" The bear briefly looked up, grunted, and returned to its prey. In a desperate search for a weapon, Kelly grabbed a sawed-off tree limb and began to furiously strike the bear's head with all his might, all the while screaming for help. The sight of his mother's blood on the bear's teeth fueled Kelly's rage. He fiercely swung his stick and hit the bear directly on the nose, drawing blood. The bear roared and retaliated with a swipe of its paw, leaving deep gashes on Kelly's neck and shoulders. The bear then targeted the terrified boy. Kelly was overpowered by the bear's massive weight and felt its teeth crushing his waist as it lifted him into the air and played with him like a toy. Just as Kelly was about to lose consciousness, the bear threw him to the ground. Kelly curled up in a ball. His mother lay motionless beside him, her skin pale, eyes open and lifeless. Kelly attempted to crawl towards her, but the bear attacked again, ripping flesh from his body. Kelly was overwhelmed by the bear's rancid breath and felt like he was going to be sick. He closed his eyes, accepting that he was about to die. Ray Kitchen was horrified by what he saw. He quickly grabbed a fallen tree branch and started hitting the railing, shouting, "Hey, get off!" But the bear was unresponsive. Determined to push the animal away from the child, Kitchen found a large branch and rammed it into the bear's stomach. However, the bear turned its attention to Kitchen and charged at him, sending both man and bear tumbling into the bushes. Kitchen, wearing only his swim trunks, tried to protect himself from the bear's claws by crawling on his knees to a tree and covering his head with his hands while shouting for help. With the bear's attention now on Raymond, Kelly finally found some relief. Despite being severely wounded with deep gashes from the bear's claws all over his body, he managed to crawl over to his mother. Upon hearing his voice, she stirred and he took her hand. Her breathing was labored and blood was seeping out of her body. Bite marks scarred Kelly's face and neck. Kelly comforted his mother, saying, "Everything's going to be all right. We'll face this together." His mother weakly spoke a few last words, telling Kelly to take care of his sister and expressing her love for him. With a final squeeze of Kelly's hand, she took her final breath. The cries of Kelly and Ray echoed throughout the woods, heard by others. Frank Hedingham, who was relaxing on a deck overlooking the lower pool, heard the commotion. Initially thinking it was just kids, he soon heard the shouts of "Help! Bear!" and "Get a gun!" Without hesitation, Hedingham sprang into action and headed towards the source of the screams. As they approached the viewing platform, Ingrid Berry, a wilderness firefighter and paramedic from Felton, California, and her friend Brad Westervelt saw two bodies covered in blood on the deck. However, the scene below the deck was even more horrifying. Ray Kitchen, still alive, was struggling as the bear's jaws were locked onto his upper arm and shoulder, and its claws were slashing at his already wounded body. With the news of the rogue bear spreading quickly, people were rushing towards the parking lot. But Bailey, who was used to encounters with bears in her line of work, and Hedingham pressed on, gathering sticks and chunks of wood as they ran towards the scene. Bailey, Westervelt, and Hedingham were determined to save Kitchen. Bailey hurled pieces of wood at the bear, shouting, "Get off him!" But the animal wouldn't budge. Hedingham and Westervelt joined forces, lifting a heavy tree trunk to use as a battering ram. Despite their efforts, the bear still held on to Kitchen. Bailey realized they needed a gun and wondered where the park ranger was. Westervelt took off to find a ranger, while Hedingham continued to pound away at the bear with the tree trunk. Bailey felt a mix of anger and helplessness as their attempts to save Kitchen proved ineffective. Bailey witnessed the bear brutally killing Kitchen by throwing him in the air with its jaws clamped around his neck. After confirming Kitchen's death, she tried to revive McConnell, who was also lifeless. Hedingham, on the other hand, rushed to Kelly's side when he heard him moan. Just as he started to attend to the boy, the bear's paw appeared on the deck, dangerously close to Kelly's feet. Hedingham furiously kicked the bear, causing it to retreat down the slope, but towards the still populated boardwalk. Kelly was trying to reach his mother, but Hedingham instructed him to stay still and breathe slowly, while assuring him that they were doing all they could to help. Hedingham used his first aid training to tend to Kelly's wounds, using a handkerchief to clean the gashes. Bailey, recognizing the need for towels to act as compresses and more hands for CPR, cried out for help. As if in response, several men came rushing up the stairs. One of them brought a towel and was trained in CPR, and he assisted Hedingham in treating Kelly's wounds. Another man helped Bailey perform CPR on McConnell. The bear had disappeared, but Bailey was still worried about the ranger's whereabouts. Hedingham expressed his urgency to get the victims to the hospital. Just as he was about to leave for help, new screams echoed through the trees, causing Hedingham to worry that the bear had attacked again. A research assistant from the University of Calgary, Ari van der Velden, was at the upper pool when he heard a commotion coming from the bushes. He and other bathers quickly left the pool and headed down the boardwalk, but van der Velden slipped and fell into the bushes. In no time, the bear pounced on him, fiercely attacking him. Van der Velden attempted to defend himself by kicking the bear's nose and pulling its ears, but to no avail. The bear's claws deeply penetrated his flesh, and it bit into his left thigh. Dave Webb, a 49-year-old businessman from Fairbanks, Alaska, had just arrived at the park when an exhausted Hedingham, who was bleeding from his temple, ran up to him and explained the situation. Without hesitation, Webb went back to his motorhome and retrieved two rifles, a Winchester .30-30 and a Remington 223. A man approached Dwayne Egbroten and asked, "Do you know how to use a gun?" "Yes," replied Dwayne. "I can handle a .30-30. The two quickly loaded their guns and rushed down the boardwalk. Dwayne arrived at the scene first, where he heard low moans coming from below the boardwalk. The bear was feeding on a man named van der Velden, who was propped against a log. Dwayne aimed for the bear's neck and fired, causing the bear to collapse. He fired two more shots to make sure it was dead. On the viewing platform, Bailey was tending to McConnell and her son when she heard the shots. Overcome with emotion, she shouted, "Shoot it again! Shoot it again!" The horror at Liard River Hotsprings finally came to an end. Thank you for watching this heartbreaking story of a mother's loss at the hands of a bear attack. The bravery and strength of those affected by this tragedy will stay with us forever. If you found this video informative and emotional, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Together, we can spread awareness and pay homage to the victims of this tragedy.